Okay, we're good.
I just want to make sure everything else is right. It says June 2nd, but that's fine as long as. My name is Erin Stevens. Welcome to the December 1st meeting of the City of Charleston Design Review Board. Members of the board present are Stephanie Tillerson, Bill Eubanks, Lucas Boyd, Ben Whitener, and myself, Erin Stevens. Forgot to announce that at the beginning. Members of city staff are David Meeks and Brad Thomas, DRB staff, and Patrick Carlson, city clerk. No board members are recused from any items. No agenda items have been deferred, and we received no public comments ahead of the meeting. The order of the meeting will be as follows: introduction of each project and context by staff, and then project presentation by the applicant. Each applicant will be given 10 minutes to present. If you need more than 10 minutes, please request ahead of time before you start your presentation. All presenters must clearly state your name for the record. And during that 10 minutes is when anyone affiliated with the project, designers, owners, developers, consultants, etc., should speak during that time. This will be followed by questions from the board and then public comments. Those will also be limited to 10 minutes. And if anyone's here from the public, please also state your name clearly for the record. This will be followed by city staff recommendations. The applicant will be given an opportunity to respond or clarify anything that came up during public comments and staff comments. And then it will turn to board discussion where the applicant may not speak unless asked a question directly. Board motion and a second, and then we will vote. Please turn off all mobile phones and other devices that make any noise. And just a reminder that comments from the public are to be limited to site design and architecture only. This board does not have authority over zoning, land use, building density, flooding, or traffic. All right. The first item on our agenda tonight is 2015 Wills Battery Boulevard, requesting approval for a completed mock-up panel for the city fire station.
Thank you, sir. Just a couple of context slides to show everybody where the project is located. It's on Maybank Highway, just a little bit west of River Road. Closer view, it's at the corner of Maybank Highway and Wills Battery for the future fire station. Turn over to the presenter. Thank you.
Yeah, so this will be short. My name's Hunter Thurlow with Leo Project Architect, and I have Jay White with Leo, Beth Brownlee, and Matt Candy with the City of Charleston. As you can, I hope all of y'all were able to make it out onto site over the holiday weekend and review the mock-up panel. If you want to skip,
Okay, some good pictures, like additional pictures then by you all find as well.
We can skip. And then so just to describe the mock-up briefly, on the left is mimicking the apparatus bay with the steel plate on the far left for the door detail. And then we have the screened porch mock-up with the rest of the house on the right, that mock-up.
I can just go through these if you like. Let me know if you want me to stop or something. Anybody?
And then, so on the window detail, we do have the two different types, the double recess and the single recess. Those reflect different size windows, the double being the larger and the single being smaller 3x6 windows.
Anything further?
Yep, thank you.
Great. Any questions from the board?
Question. Hunter, right?
Yes,
I stopped, yeah, right there. And David pointed that out. Thanks, David. Just questioning the attachment of the half round gutter to the building. Is that really how it's detailed, how it's intended to go under the standing seam like that?
that's correct.
I've just never seen it done that way. Looks like water would have a tendency to go under that fish mouth where the opening is.
What is the reason for that?
It was to connect it to the top, mount it here, and then it's be flapped over under the roof. And it was to not have visible hangers from the bottom from the pedestrian perspective.
And I guess you're just gonna seal right there. You're just gonna put sealant at that joint.
No.
Okay. The other question was, and I think that was my finger that was pointing at the wash above the soldier course. Is that the intent? Is the sort of that cant above the soldier? I mean, it just didn't seem consistent with the other recesses that you had around the mock up.
Yeah, so above the windows, we are doing a lot on the brick. We've been working with the contractor on getting it smooth and the best practices of how to limit the upsplash.
And it's just an aesthetic. I mean, you just
Yeah, we
Is
were
that a typical detail?
concerned with the water effervescence and pulling the water. Standing on that ledge.
efflorescence. Okay. But I guess you're not concerned with it on the other recesses and
We're not.
I'll chime in from the back row real quick. I think it's height of interest, water main and apparatus. The other, projections elsewhere on the apparatus bay, it's about a half an inch, so it's not too much.
so that one's more.
No, it's about the same, but again, it's just about limiting the opportunity for water to wick back into the header.
So it's built out though. You said so the water doesn't splash back up and.
Yeah,
affect
that's
the
it.
bricks
Water
there?
doesn't flow back into the brick, right around the window.
That could probably be accomplished with something a little less dramatic in terms of mortar built up. But I'm strong about it.
I was just curious.
I had another mortar question. I don't know if you.
I'm afraid I didn't.
Okay, I just, maybe you can see it on one of these, the one of that side. It looked like it was on the far side,
Far right.
if you're facing it on the left.
Or is that? It's a change in color in the mortar.
Yeah, just at that seam. And I was curious. It's, yeah, you can't see it, but like,
On
right.
the left side.
It was like one was beige and one was like a darker gray, and I didn't know if those were options or different parts of the buildings were having different mortar colors or.
That picture was taken right after they had finished washing.
Oh, no, I was
that
there this
area.
morning and I took a picture of it.
Yeah, there's a different mortar color around.
Yeah, they're very different looking.
We'll confirm with the contractor,
Yeah,
but
I've got-
all the consistent mortar.
It all should be one color.
As shown on the front.
Yeah, see,
I took a picture today that shows it pretty drastically contrasting, but
that's what you meant right here, right?
yeah. I got there this morning.
Beth Brownlee from the city owners rep. That left side also remained there, we rejected the first mock-up,
Okay,
and so we left the first.
Oh,
that
gotcha.
makes sense. See, that's what it took.
That's the rejected
morning.
color,
And
You can
so
see
what
the
we,
different-
what we ended up,
the darker
we
mortar.
did the other portion of it, so I think that's just the green mortar
Okay.
that hasn't fully cured right out yet.
Okay. Yeah, there was the picture that I sent you this morning.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't include it.
So the bulk of it is what it's going to be. The bulk of the mock-up is the correct color. And it'll all be one. We don't have two contrasting colors in it. Okay, great. That was the only question. Okay. Is there anyone from the public here to speak on this project? Great. So do you have recommendations?
Thank you, Aaron. Staff really had no comments. Staff is supportive of the mock-up panel materials and craftsmanship, and we recommend approval.
Applicant, would you like to respond to? Great. All right, move into board discussion and motion.
Motion for approval.
I second. Okay, so we have a motion for approval and a second. Any further discussion? Call roll, Lucas.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
I'm also in favor.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda is 606 Brookings Square Lane, requesting preliminary approval for building 4 only, other buildings to be submitted at a later time. Applicant, oh, actually, you want to?
Just a few context slides to remind everybody where this is, or in case you haven't seen this one yet. This is considered Cainhoy off of Clements Ferry Road. Closer view, it's almost to Cainhoy Road intersection with Clements Ferry. This is under construction over here, and it's going to be a continuation of that coming in right here. So the development's going to be right in here. And then this is across the street looking into the site across from Clements Ferry. So with that, I'll turn over to the applicant.
Thank you.
You good with 10 minutes?
Yes. I'm Carol Wheeler with the Middleton Group, and I'm here with Jessica from Cameron Baker Engineering, covers the civil side, and then Kevin with Rima, the landscape architect. As David said, we're only asking for preliminary approval for building 4, which you can see peeking through here between buildings 1 and 2. And we plan to submit buildings 1, 2, and 3 as one package in January. If you move to the next slide, please, I'll start with our responses to previous DRB comments, and then also include comments we received from the Point Hope DRB board. We have received preliminary approval from them earlier last month. So the first DRB comment was included in the motion. We were supposed to study the infill porch columns and beams in one of the 3 elements that each building has. And we have looked at the siding color. We darkened the siding color and eliminated the posted beam look and used trim instead. And I'll show you that later in comparative elevations. On this slide, you see our proposed preliminary design at the top, the previous one at the bottom. The other 4 DRB comments focus on landscaping, and we addressed those. We had added landscaping at the entrance to the site, which you will later see on the landscape plans. We've also started coordinating with Design Works on the pond design. It's not in our property, but we like to have a complementary color painting palette, but that's still in progress. We've also included rain gardens in the rear of the site per the DRB, per the staff request. And if you move on to the next slide. Another request was, I think we added enlarged landscape areas, staff requested in the landscape package. And other than that, the URB comments had asked us to study the proximity of these buildings to the property line. We've addressed that and made sure that no footing or roof overhang will project past the property lines. the building 4 that we are asking approval for doesn't have that issue and is far away from the northern property line. Another DRB comment asked for better pedestrian connectivity on the site, so we had added these 3 pedestrian connections to interconnect the buildings with each other. The DURB also asked that we eliminate a walking path we had included in the buffer, because I didn't think it adds to the experience. So we have removed that, and now our walking path connection is basically connecting here to the multifamily development to the west, and brings pedestrians through the site back to Clements Ferry Road. Another comment the DURB had was regarding the use of gravel on a portion of our building edges. They were questioning that, but we'd like to keep it because it provides a good clean transition from the vertical building face to the planting area. And it helps with drainage and it reduces the need for maintenance to keep planting away from our building facade. If you can go back one more time, please, like back. Another request was to add signage. We know this is not part of this submittal, but we showed it anyways. We will have signage on Clements Ferry Road, and we'll include that in a comprehensive signage package that will submit separately to DRB. The other thing we added was pervious pavers at building entrances. These are all the comments that we addressed. So let's move on to other sections and materials. Next slide, please. These are the streetscape elevations that haven't changed much. Next slide. These are site sections that we included. Here is building 4 at the rear of the site. We had to bring the finished floor elevation pretty high to work with the existing sewer elevation. So we have to deal with some topography on the site in a stem wall situation, mostly here on building 4, but we'll show you how we address that architecturally on the elevations. Next slide. Here are the main materials we're proposing. It's a pretty neutral color palette of whites and grays with some accent wood. So we have the gabled portions of our building design will have fiber cement siding with board and batten, and to give it a unique touch, we're using a 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch deep battens to create a deeper shadow line and some more texture. And we have a gray brick. I can show these materials here. A light mortar. Then we're using for the porch info panels, the V-groove siding. This is just a general material, but we paint that dark gray. And then we have at building entrances and other accent areas, we're using a resistor siding used successfully on some other projects that you've seen before. And we're proposing to have vertical siding above the building entrances. And we would like to use different widths, 4 inch and 6 inches that we combine randomly to give it a little bit more of a rustic or organic look, because otherwise the colors don't change very much in this composite material. It's also on that material board. Next slide. Next slide, please. And the next slide shows the comparative elevations. So here's actually the building 4 elevation facing the parking lot. That's what you see when you enter the site. This is our change that we incorporated at the porch infill. We no longer have this posted beam look. We have the horizontal siding with vertical 2x8 trim pieces that we're using that are almost flush, but they're projecting a little bit. So we still keep those proportions that we like, but we're giving this element its own identity by darkening it and making it more uniform with the trim. And we're also using this material in some areas where we can't have floor to ceiling storefront because of the medical exam rooms behind there. So we're just using a 3-foot high sill here, sill infill that's still recessed from the bed siding. Next slide, please. Here are the east and west elevations. the proposed elevations and the previous elevations. They haven't changed that much. Again, our infill porch, then we have the brick element, and in the back, the board and batten gabled element. And it shows the different color values where we're going from white to gray and then to dark gray. Here you can see as well how the topography slopes down. So we're proposing a projected soldier course at the floor line to give the building a base and make it look like a water table. Next slide, please.
Just 2 minutes remaining.
At the back, we are continuing the projected soldier course, and then at the gabled portions, we're using just a trim piece and a patch coat underneath. Next slide. These are just renderings of the elevations from the parking lot. Next slide. And these are just previews of how we're applying the materials that I just described to building 1 and 2 and 3. Again, this is not part of the submittal, this is just the context. Next slide. Next slide, these are building sections and wall sections. Feel free to ask any questions if you have on those. Next slide. We can move on to the landscape slides actually. Civil plans, we received, we finished the first round of TRC. And here are the landscape plans. Again, we focus on building 4 since this is what we're asking for approval for. Here are the added rain gardens. And it's a pretty simple palette here. We have pervious pavers here, grass in the back. This is not visible from the public right of way. And then we're using these obviously trees and landscape items. If you have, now we're open to any questions. We have civil and landscape here to answer. Anything that I haven't covered.
Thank you. Questions for the board?
The raised sill on the storefront for the exam rooms, is
Yeah.
that spandrel glass in there, or is that an actual just painted part here or something like that?
At the bottom, this is actually the same V-groove siding that we're proposing on the right side. This is just because it's a bed space and the dogs are not supposed to look out and get distracted. So go back 2 more slides, please. So this and this material is exactly the same material. The board and batten is slightly proud of it. So the storefront and the sill are in the same plane, and then the board and batten comes out of it.
How is that difference in depth achieved just by the width of the siding, or is there an actual framing?
We're furrowing out the
Right,
board and batten, and this is just the siding that's directly over the sheathing. We show the dark color so that it looks like the dark storefront. And just so you know, the other buildings that they have different medical offices in there, they have different requirements, so they will have this element maybe in some other heights also. But generally, this proportion was important to us, but that stays the same.
Quick question on the site plan. We'll look to it, just a clarification. I understand, but that's good. Yeah, I think there's one that shows, yeah, the landscape plan is fine. There's I had a question about there's a fence coming in.
That's,
It's
I think there's an overall.
maybe towards the entry, yeah. Yeah, it looked like a fence coming in, and then if you go to building 4 landscape, I think.
For landscape.
Building 4.
Right, yeah, so it looked like there was a fence that came in somewhere and it just kind of ended here. I just wanted to make sure I understood what was going on there. Is it kind of ends where that deadline is?
We have a lot of grade makeup there, so it's difficult to see here. I think the landscape plan kind of showed that retaining wall, kind of hugging the driveway coming in. We have since we've removed the nature trail from within the buffer, we've kind of eliminated the need for the stairs and the extension of that wall.
Okay.
But this this portion here alongside the driveway, that will still be necessary.
Okay,
And then once we get closer to the eastern face of building 4, we'll be able to make grade without a wall.
okay. And there's a fence, there's like a black, I think it's a black aluminum fence along the top there.
Part of that
right?
is the vehicular guardrail. Yes.
Okay, and then what, it just ends, I
It would
think.
end there right before you get into the main pedestrian area there near building 4.
So it's a guardrail, not a fence.
Correct, it is vehicular protection.
Is there
There,
detail?
there was a fence detail, I thought.
At one point, we did have a fence because it was pedestrian adjacent to it, but the trail went away, so the pedestrian access also went away.
Well, I know it still showed up in some of the drawings I saw today, so that's why I was just trying to, because I didn't know what was ending up being there, because it had changed. And I know at least, I don't know exactly what sheet, but it was one that had like the fence line, and then I was just trying to see where it ended and tied into that planting bed or not, and how that worked, so.
Understood. Yeah, the goal is safety, so we'll be sure to rectify the details accordingly.
And then but the fence will not connect to the building.
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah, it looked like it followed that line right there where you see, that wasn't the plan I was talking about, but just kind of, yeah. So, okay, thanks. Any other questions from the board? Okay, anyone from the public here to speak on this project? Staff recommendations?
Here, some staff observations. The previous board and staff comments mostly had to do with the site, and these have all been addressed. The landscape plans are looking good. Staff appreciates the added rain garden in the parking lot. The board member who made the previous comment about the porch columns and siding versus the beams has confirmed this item was also addressed. DRB supports the materials for the building as shown on sheet 806. Staff comment number 1. The variety of sweet gum being specified has less messy fruit than the standard sweet gum, but they still have some fruit. Staff recommends a different tree choice for directly next to the patios. Excuse me, directly next to the patios, but other locations for this tree would be fine, as long as it's not located next to walks. Staff comment number 2, please include the common names in the plant list. And staff recommends preliminary approval for building 4 and for the planting plan conceptual approval. Because the plan numbers aren't included yet, that should be included for preliminary approval.
Applicant want to clarify or respond to anything?
We can address those comments in the next round.
Or discussion in the motion?
David, are you wanting final to just go to staff?
Well, I guess that would be the case, yes.
Would you be okay with the
I would be
landscape
okay
plan
with
and
that.
just go into staff also?
And I could share it with you all if you like as well. If you're okay with it.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I did want to mention, I know you made the comment about the sweet gums, and then I saw that the other, is it DURB? All the acronyms, they said they don't allow them anyway, so I'm guessing that they'll be replaced, so I don't know if we can just
Okay,
ignore
yeah.
that comment, cause I know, I noticed that
Is there really a sweet gum that's
there is.
not a,
Yes,
okay?
a cultivar.
I can't stand the
There
sweet
is a
gum.
fruitless one.
Hate those
I think
things.
y'all had the slender silhouette.
That's a color.
One, yeah.
Those things are so annoying, they're like weeds.
Well, DURB agreed with you and asked them to remove them, so. But that way you'll just have the comment from one person to deal with, and then we won't have a dueling comments. I think it's cleaner for the record.
Unfortunately, it is one of the only trees we get any fall color from
Right.
down here.
And it's a lump number.
And it's important for non-human species. But that's a conversation for another day.
Oh.
You want to motion it up?
Motion for preliminary approval for building 4. With staff comments 1 and 2, or 2, sorry, since we're leaving 1 out. And we said preliminary approval was with final approval to staff with their planning plan, right? Is that good? All right.
So we have a motion for approval with staff comment number 2. And for preliminary approval with final review by staff for building and landscape. Great. Is there a second?
Second.
Right. I'll call roll. Bill?
Yes.
Stephanie? Yes. I am also in favor. Thanks, y'all. It's the
Good night.
like King Hoy
What's the
design, use, design
What's
and use.
DURB? Okay, design use review.
I think it had use in there.
Use.
Yeah.
On hopes.
Oh, it's review.
I hope that back.
Too many review boards.
Great. Item 3 on our agenda tonight is 1791 Hickory Knoll Way, requesting preliminary approval for 2 one-story commercial buildings.
Thank you. Just a couple context slides. We've seen this before, but just to remind everybody, very close to the location we just saw for the mock-up panel. Off of Maybank Highway, the corner of Maybank Highway and Hickory Knoll Way. The closer view. The currently wooded site. And then Maple, Hickory Knoll is off to the right, and so it's looking at the site to the right. Applicant can set that up.
My name is Kylie Simpson. I'm with GBA Architecture, here for Hickory Knoll, and we also have Thomas Martin, so all of you have any questions. So we're just gonna go through a bunch of the comments and we'll slowly go through them. So if you could flip to page C200. This one. So a couple of the comments that were made at the last submittal was talking about kind of moving the building away from the edge of Hickory Knoll. It was originally around like 5 feet. We've now moved it over 10 feet away from the corner. We also talked about expanding some of the concrete patios on the side. So those were originally around 12 feet. So we opened them up and made them 15 feet. They're a little bit bigger, allow for more space for people to walk through. We also brought up the comment of adding more native plants to the area, landscaping around the patio and around the corner. So if you go to the next page. This kind of shows the updated landscape plan. We also lowered the seating wall, which you can see in another plan, which still wraps around the same area, but now it's at a lower level. And we also brought up adding planting along the back of the building, just to add landscaping around the corner and around the building itself, and also adding some landscaping in the detention ponds as well. So if you flip to A100, which is 3 pages. Yeah, so this kind of just shows the floor plan, slightly updated, pretty much the same as before, other than some of the bump outs in the front. Most of the inside is the same, but we updated some of the interior to work with the updated elevations. And then you can also see, which we'll see in some of the other drawings, where the mechanical equipment and the electrical equipment is, which is in the back of the building. If you flip to 2 more pages, or 3 to A200. This shows the updated elevations just as an overall scale, and then we'll go into the differences and what we picked up on for comments. If you flip to 1 page. So this kind of shows the original that we had presented last time and the new design. So you can see that one of the comments was making the entrances more similar. So we kind of took away kind of wrapping one of the entrances, and now they have more of a similar canopy look. They have a similar storefront. The lighting's the same, the materials are the same. The overhang has the same features, but we really wanted to focus on having 2 different entrances and 2 different like unique personalities without them being too different, which had come up last time. So we aligned the top of the roof with this elongated piece, but still kind of made one of the entrances a little bit taller. So you can kind of have, if you have two tenants or one kind of has its own personality and one has its own, so they have some type of differences, but they're still a little bit similar. And then we also really focused on the elongated piece in the middle. We got rid of just the one bump out in the different material. And now it's a little bit more unison where we have board and batten across the whole elongated piece, and we still have these two bump outs, but they're more of a bay window, which kind of works with the inside, giving it a little bit of a push and pull effect, but we're keeping it one similar color across. So it just gives it a little bit of an effect just because the building is so long. If you go to the next slide, this one is still really similar. We really focused on bringing the scale down, aligning all the overhangs, and just keeping more of a symmetrical and unison across with some of the openings. If you go to the next slide. This is the back of the building. It's still a little bit similar, but we got rid of some of the windows to accommodate trying to hide the mechanical and electrical equipment, working with possibly having multiple tenants. So the electrical equipment is on the back, and the mechanical equipment, we move some of the windows in because we don't want to deal with as much sound, but we still want to give openings out looking over some of the greenery. And then you can see as you can see on the other ones, we brought down the patio, so it's more of a seat height. It only you can sit on top of it. It doesn't have the seat in the inside, and the brick would match the building as well, so it all coincides together. If you go to the next one, and this kind of just shows the other elevation on the west, aligning the eaves and the overhangs, and just kind of trying to make it a little bit more symmetrical. If you go to the next slide, one more. This kind of shows the overall of the updated and revised design, kind of focusing on the two different entrances, kind of having a similar look, but a different hierarchical value. And then you can see the bump outs here where it's all the same color across, but it kind of gives it that push and pull effect without it being so much like the other one where it was two different colors. If you go to the next slide, you can see the differences. So this was the previous design that we showed with the two different entrances, and that's the new updated one on the front, and that's what people would see when they drive through. We have one color across the elongated piece without it being two different ones. It's the same material of a board and batten, and that elongated piece kind of pulls all the way across with having the entrances having their own material and hierarchy, so they stand out. If you go to the next slide, this kind of shows the back of the building, showing the brick, and then also showing just adding some greenery that will block the mechanical equipment, even though we have that 75-foot buffer. And you can kind of see all the aligning of the roofs and kind of the push and pull of the entrances a little bit with having that elongated blue piece across. You go to the next slide, and this will show the differences on really just coloring, updating the brick, and showing some of how the equipment will sit on the around the building. And if you go to the next slide, this is the overall of the site where we have two different buildings on the site, the same building, but they would be mirrored. So the hierarchy would be kind of in the middle with the patios looking out towards each other, and they would look out onto the detention pond, which we'd be adding trees, and then they would kind of elongate across the site, but it shows how close they are and their similarities, kind of working with the hierarchy of the surrounding area as well. So, and if you have any questions on the landscaping and civil, we have them here to answer. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, other questions from the board?
I just have one question, and maybe I missed it on the drawings, but do you have a screen proposed around your mechanical units somewhere? I know you said it's the back of the building, but it's facing Maybank Highway. Just curious.
At the moment, we were focusing on using landscaping as a screening because it is the back and people wouldn't be able to see it as much with the buffer, so we were kind of losing that wall of landscaping across to kind of buffer the mechanical equipment in the back.
There is very strong buffer here. Very thick.
75 foot, yeah.
Other questions? before? Okay. Is there anyone here from the public to speak on this project? Staff recommendations?
All the previous staff and board comments have been addressed and staff recommend preliminary approval with final review by staff.
Should I have to clarify anything? Okay. Board discussion and a motion.
Can you flip to the plant schedule? Nope, the schedule, not the plan. Well, I think it's,
you passed it.
yeah, I think you passed it.
Sorry, yeah.
There it is. Aaron, how do you feel about philodendron in a commercial setting?
Sounds like a loaded question. What's your comment?
I want to hear your comment.
I just know it can be subject to, freeze damage pretty easily. It can get wiped out. It tends to come back,
Mhm.
but it can get totally wiped out in a cold snap. I kind of question it as a, commercial setting.
We were just thinking with global warming, it would be okay. Yeah, we can certainly swap it out. I think that's a fair observation for sure.
That's funny.
We still going through.
Oh, no, I'm done. Maybe Fatsia, if they're wanting something that's like
Yeah.
big leaf tropical.
Sure. Let them decide.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree though.
I realized I did have a question.
Okay.
For the applicant. On the front facade, you moved from the single bump out to the bay window bump outs. Is this a necessity of the plan, or was it just an architectural thing to break up that section of the facade?
I think it was a board comment, wasn't it? We discussed it.
No, we recommended restudying that as a bump out, and but then the bay windows were presented as an alternative. And I'm just wondering if that is a because those rooms need to be bigger or something like that.
It's a conference room and they wanted it slightly larger. Obviously, having just one kind of felt off. Unless we were trying to attach, like it was an infield porch at one point and then broke it out to the bay window. And then it just kind of felt odd, so we tried to make it a little bit more symmetrical.
No, I don't think they're doing anything to help the facade. I think it would likely be a nicer facade if it was just a clean grid of windows and blue siding. Would that seriously compromise the plan?
It would take away.
Yeah, it makes the conference room smaller.
I think the building on the site is very tight, so we were trying to accommodate some of that square footage by giving that push and pull because of the wetlands and trying to have that pathway of driving through. There wasn't much that we could accommodate by giving square footage, so we were trying to give it back a little bit by adding that push out.
Like really right in front of this particular one, we try to keep all of the trees on site, so there's one large, I think it's a sycamore in front of there. And so you can even see like the site plan had to deviate around that. It really squeezed that building in and made it much longer than.
I get it.
Could you extend it all the way out? Or would that not work either?
No, it's not a strong feeling I have. But again, I do think it would be nicer just with a flat facade and a grid of windows. That being said, if the bay windows do have to stay, I guess I'm back to board discussion. I'm really unsure about the awning, the addition of the awning windows above, and whether or not it would be that is a pretty, that's really close to the rafter tails too. I don't know how that would detail out where the header would go effectively, but even just visually, it looks a little pinched up there, and I'm wondering, because those look like the same size windows as in the regular facade, and if it's just reganged of those and call it, if that's your big one, but I don't know,
Those aren't actually functioning awning windows, are they?
sorry, no, just transom windows.
Yeah.
But it does distinguish them as bay window E.
It is a slope soffit, so it's kind of deceiving.
Yeah, so you have a little more depth. in this. That, and I get the wanting the different personalities for the tenants, but man, oh man, I think those volumes want to be the exact thing.
Oh, yeah.
Especially now that they're pretty darn close.
The owner's most likely gonna take over the whole building at some point, so that was the whole thing, they wanted to not
Have
compete.
one entry, have one.
Exactly, like, oh, it seems
Yeah.
very like, you know, primary, secondary,
Right.
but yet
Mhm.
it could be.
But right now,
I'm not-
primary and slightly less primary.
Yeah.
And switching the slope like that will be pretty tough with the fascia trim. It'll have to be kind of ripped and jimmied. Anyways, thoughts?
I'm fine with the bay windows. I mean,
Bay windows, the 2 volumes, you're good with it all?
yeah. I would like, I did agree with the staff that it would have looked nicer with standing seam other than asphalt shingles, but I buy the comment that you guys had for that too. Is everybody okay with, I mean, we don't typically let HVAC condensing units stay unscreened.
I'm okay with it. I mean, it's a
It's gonna affect-
75-foot buffer and they've got landscaping.
Yeah.
Somebody's back there, they shouldn't be anyways. So.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you feel strongly about it, do you feel strongly about the bay window?
I don't. I feel-
Yeah.
Can we look at in the site plan? I just want to make sure I understand exactly where that transformer location is, or HVAC.
It's on the front. I mean, it faces Maybank. They're over here, right? Aren't they like back here?
They're right against the building though.
Yeah.
Just one on each building. Is that-
Couple on each, or there's like 4, right? There's
Like-
4 on each building. See right here?
Yeah, there.
So they're right in the corner.
Okay, so the plan there, I'll show the site plan.
It's such a thick buffer.
Yeah. I'm
As long as
just
it-
curious.
yeah.
And there's plantings,
Just cover it.
and there's plantings between.
I mean, I guess we'll see it when you drive in this way.
There's landscape.
As long as there's enough landscaping, I guess. We just typically haven't made that as a exception.
Policy.
Yeah,
Can't scream. policy.
and we make it clear that it can't be landscaping, can't be.
That's right.
I
Yeah.
don't want to set that precedent, but
It is.
in this case, I think.
It is.
right.
It's a pretty deep, that's a big,
Because of the-
deep buffer.
Yeah,
I'm okay with it. You guys are.
I'm okay with it.
Motion it up.
Motion for approval, preliminary approval with final review by staff.
With the swap out?
Oh, let's swap out the philodendron for
Something
Make
else.
some suggestions.
Something more cold hardy. Okay,
Is that the stuff you used to put in your college dorm room and it grew
Oh,
all
yeah.
over the place?
a lot of it
Gotcha.
there, yeah. There's a lot of.
I have a
types of it.
couple in my yard
That's
that I
pretty
did
cool.
as an experiment.
They do great as like houseplants or in pots on porches and stuff. but,
There you go.
Okay, so we have a motion for approval, for preliminary approval, with board comment to study substitutions for the philodendron. Is there a second?
Second.
Lucas,
Yes, in favor.
Stephanie? Yes. I'm also in favor. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good night.
And one final item on our agenda, y'all can go.
Stay for minutes. Yeah. One more project you gotta show us.
Yeah. The minutes from the October 6th, 2025 meeting. There a motion for approval?
Motion for approval.
All
Where's Ashley? She's supposed to do that.
Her leg.
Surgery.
Is there a second
Second.
before we get derailed? All right, Lucas.
Yes, in favor.
Stephanie. Yes. I'm also good. Thanks.
You know, it's funny you said you